are outnumbered 5-1 in senior leadership. And with the recent overturn of DEI programs, it's imperative that women develop effective strategies for negotiating promotion and leadership. There will be less reach out to women to have a seat at the table, and many women will now face even greater barriers when vying for leadership opportunities. However, these barriers can be demolished by proactive planning. I'm Dr. Gloria Esoimeme. I'm a board-certified internal medicine physician with a master's in global health and a PhD in health services policy and management. In this podcast, I will be showing you how to plan and prepare so we can bridge the female leadership gap and help women secure the roles they deserve. So whether you're aiming for a vacant position or advocating for a role that doesn't exist yet, having a clear roadmap for your career is a critical step towards success. How do you create a roadmap? You start creating that roadmap by reviewing the description of your desired role and aligning your responsibilities with its expectations. I'll give you an example. A colleague of mine demonstrated the power of preparation and visibility. This lady consistently took on significant responsibilities to the extent that many assumed she was already part of the leadership team. When she officially transitioned into the role of medical director, the shift was seamless because she had effectively been preparing for it all along. By stepping up, she proved her readiness and made the transition effortless for herself and everyone involved in the process. So aligning your responsibilities with the expectations of your desired role not only prepares you for the position, but also gives you the opportunity to evaluate whether it aligns with your long-term aspirations and if that's what you really want. Planning ahead is critical. However, there are situations where a position opens up unexpectedly. In that case, don't hesitate to confidently step up for that position. And confidence makes all the difference. So let's talk about strategies for negotiation. So you've decided on a leadership role. What do you do, especially when there's no formal advertisement for the role? I'll give you 5 steps on how to navigate this process. The first is to compile your case. You've decided to move on to a leadership role or higher role. You will need to compile your case. So this is your personal inventory to help you reaffirm your decision to move on to the role. You gather evidence that demonstrates why you're qualified. You highlight your achievements, if you've gotten awards or feedback, all your leadership contributions, and then see how your skills align with the new position. The second is to identify and approach the decision makers. You determine who makes the decision, whether it's your direct supervisor or someone higher up the chain of command, and strategize the best way to approach them. Do you need to talk to your direct supervisor or do you need to talk to someone higher up? Once you've identified the right decision maker, then you need to decide how to ask. This might involve scheduling a formal meeting or an email or making an informal pitch, depending on your relationship with the decision maker and the company culture. You have to make an assessment of what method would be the most effective in your situation. You need to assess whether it's more effective to send an email, make a phone call, or take advantage of a casual interaction. I'll give you an example of what I did when I wanted a promotion at some point in my career. This job did not exist, so it required some strategy because I was asking for what did not exist. So when I wanted this position, I had to first decide who to reach out to. Do I reach out to my direct supervisor or do I talk to the main decision maker? There's no hard and fast rule. I had developed a cordial relationship with both my direct boss and the main decision maker. I won't describe either of them as my friends, but I was cordial. We don't go golfing together. I've never been to their homes, but I trusted both of them. I knew they were both supportive of my career growth based on past experiences with them. After thinking through, I felt it was wiser to have my direct supervisor ask on my behalf for multiple reasons. And the first was that I was asking to work more closely with him. So I wanted this to be collaborative so he knows I would not overstep my chain of command if I had this opportunity. The second was that if my direct supervisor asks on my behalf, it would reflect a greater need for promotion to this position that did not exist. And thirdly, if managed appropriately, having my direct supervisor sponsor my promotion would further enhance our relationship. He would be more willing to guide me in the role since he advocated for me in the first place. So once the decision was made to reach out to my direct supervisor, the next thing I did was decide how to approach him. I thought of just casually walking into his office, but we work miles apart and we work similar hours, so the chances of casually running into him was unlikely. I looked in the calendar and there was no in-person meeting happening within that time frame. So I knew I had to either email, call, or text. I'm a texter, so I sent him a text. I'll read you the text I sent him in case you plan on doing something similar. I'll call my supervisor Mr. Kindheart. So this is what it text. This is the exact text I sent. There, Mr. Kindheart, I hope you're well. I would like to reach out and let you know I'm really interested in the XYZ role. I know it doesn't exist currently, and in bracket I was like LOL. I'd love the opportunity to support you and the team in a bigger capacity. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you. The text was short, simple, and straight to the point. I highlighted that I wanted to serve. Once I sent the message, I had no control over what happened next. Once you've asked, you've done your part, and you have no control on how the recipient responds to you. The response could be yes, no, or maybe. In my case, my supervisor responded with the most gracious message that he would look into it and support me. So the first thing was to compile your case. And the next was identify and approach the decision maker. And then the third is to advocate for yourself. So when given the opportunity to discuss the role, present your key achievements and articulate the value you would bring to the role. Explain how your current position limits your ability to deliver even greater results. Your strongest point should be about what you bring and how you plan to serve. Be concise and confident. Then leave the decision makers room to consider your request. And then the fourth, handle rejections constructively. So if your request is declined, don't be discouraged. Instead, ask what you need to do to qualify and use that feedback for growth. If that step up is what you really want in your career and it's unlikely you would get it at your current job, I recommend you start to consider opportunities at other companies. Your next leadership opportunity might just be somewhere else. Discuss your strategies with trusted mentors to gain new perspectives. And the fifth and the last recommendation is to consider trade-offs. But this has to be done with extreme caution. You could consider opening yourself up to leadership positions with the same pay. If you go this route, I recommend you and leadership are clear about the timeline for renegotiation. In this case, you get a title and the responsibilities with no pay increase. The advantage with going this route is that it gives you an opportunity to practice and know if you really like the position. But the drawback is that if you end up staying too long in this position with no increase in your pay, you may end up resentful and feeling unappreciated. Taking on more responsibilities with no increase in pay is tricky. It may be best to go this route with a mentor or coach so you're not blindsided by your employer and you find yourself taking on more thankless responsibilities for too long. So here are the things I want you to do. Whether you're at the stage of applying for a new position or not, I want you to position yourself strategically. Make yourself very visible. Take on additional responsibilities, volunteer for projects, and do things to showcase your leadership capabilities. I'm not asking you to be selfish, but avoid thankless jobs where you take on responsibilities that are sort of kind of needed but does not project you in the best light. Then if you're at the stage of applying for a position, make clear and direct asks. Let there be no guesswork on what you want. If you want to be Chief Medical Information Officer, ask for it. If you want to be the head nurse, ask for it. If you want to be the lead salesperson, ask clearly. Be confident and explicit about what you want. I want to thank you for listening. And I want you to know that there's no limit to how much you can develop your negotiation skills. The more we practice, the better negotiators we become, which ultimately leads to progress in our careers. Imagine yourself fearlessly advocating for leadership roles. Imagine living in the reality of your true potential. That's my goal for you as you continue to listen to my podcasts and read books to help you develop your negotiation and leadership skills. After you take an action that makes you more visible, send me a private message so I can celebrate you. Because I know doing that requires courage. Let me know if there are any topics you want me to discuss, or if you have any questions based on this episode. Also, if you want to fast track your growth, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I still have a few coaching spots available. Let's schedule a strategy call and see if we are a good fit. I will see you in the next episode. Be great.